Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, November 13th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names from our watch list, stocks that are holding up well, showing some relative strength, ideally not yet too extended in their moves. As always, these videos are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We curate ideas from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So we got 5 names we're looking at today, 3 from IBD's list, 2 from our watch list. We're going to kick it off with RH, Restoration Hardware. This comes from Investors Business Daily's watch list here, and this is a weekly time frame that we're looking at. And really the big picture here is that we saw a big multi-year breakout just a couple of months ago in September over and to all-time highs in this stock. Now it traveled and covered a lot of distance in short time. So from the June lows to just where it peaked 3 weeks ago, it's up about 120%. So it has certainly had a strong run to the upside and some digestion and some little bit of a pullback, retest, and kind of check back is certainly reasonable and in line. And when we look here at the weekly chart, I think a good spot for that at minimum is just to retest this old breakout area around $160. So that's what I'd be looking at here as we start to pull back. We got a lot of momentum. We got a name that just surged to new highs, lots of momentum. I think this had a big percentage of float held short. At least it did at one point. I don't know what that number looks like now, but when we look here at the daily chart, we see this consolidation. Looks a little weak here. Wouldn't be surprised again to see this fall another 10 or 15 points to check back to 160. That's where I'd be looking at it for a lower risk sort of pullback entry for RH. So that's number one. Number two is from IBD's list. This is a stock that we do have a position in currently. The Trade Risk has a position in it. If we look here at the weekly chart of VEEV, you can see here that this has had a nice move throughout the course of this year. It's up over 100% from the January lows to where it topped out in about July. It's been consolidating very orderly here since July. I really like that orderly consolidation, just very kind of mostly through time, a little bit of a pullback here as well, but given the magnitude of the move, it's pretty reasonable consolidation spot. Now, if we go down to that daily chart again, what you can see is there's some pretty stiff support around 137 or so, that upper 130s. We found support there in May. We basically got back here in September and October, and now you can see we're starting to lift back up here. We got involved several days ago into, I believe it was on this day here, Wednesday the 6th. Our entry is right around 141 or so. We're looking to hold this. It's a longer term trade. No near-term profit targets until we get closer to the mid 150s, closer to 160. So I like this name. It's been consolidating. I want to see this try and work itself back up to the upper end of the range here. I think you can be patient. It might be consolidating in here for a longer period. Might even get another chance around 140 or so in this stock. So VEEV, we have a position there, and I'll still like the setup. Number 3 is a name we talked about back in October. So October 23rd, you can dial back and watch the Trade Ideas video. We talked about this HEI here, and the day that we talked about this stock was right here. It was right at, coincidentally, ended up being the low, or I guess one day off of the low, but it was right here as this was pulling back. And basically what we talked about was the fact that we were kind of on this third drive lower with weakening momentum on each drive. So in other words, this first drive down had a steep slope lower, then the next corrective or the next impulse leg down was a little bit more gradual, and then the third one even more gradual. You can see there that that ended up kind of peaking right here. We found a nice pop to the October highs. We pulled back, and now you can see this lifting up again. So once again, it's sort of back on the watch list. This isn't a position for us. It was Certainly a name of interest, but it didn't line up on the exact entry. But I'm kind of putting this back here because, again, if we look at the weekly chart, I think this is something that could be just starting its turnaround here. It's finding some support, firming up under the 120 area. Again, you may not want to be chasing it today, but if this can kind of come back, settle back in, maybe get another chance to buy it near the 120s, this is something that looks pretty interesting here. So HEI back on the list after a month, and it's seen some nice gains since we last looked at it. Now, two other names from our watch list. First is APPN. This is a software play. It's a little bit of a smaller cap company. It's a volatile stock. It started the year off around 25, got as high as 60. So some impressive gains there this year. But since then, it has pulled back and it's off about 35% from highs. I'm looking at it in this area here. You can see that the stock is trying to find some supports, trying to go sideways here, momentum trying to go sideways and start to lift up as well. We still have lower highs, kind of flat lows here. All in all, still needs to prove itself, but it is something that looks interesting around these levels. Longer term trend line kind of comes in at this $40 area as well. So APPN, looking at this consolidation and waiting for a potential entry here for a trade. Last but not least from our watch list is CYRX. This one here, cyclical sector. If we go to a weekly chart here, you can see this one just gets into these nice long strides, these nice long trends, and just have very clean sort of impulse legs up and down here. You can see, we had a nice move up in mid-2018. It was a long, gradual move down into the start of 2019, which kicked off this very gradual but impressive 150% run throughout 2019. And now you can see again, it has sort of had this a long sort of corrective move down. It got cut in half basically from the highs, and now you can see it's starting to stabilize here. Lots of volume came in on this down move here, so maybe we got some capitulation in there on this latest leg lower, but it's starting to stabilize. If this can start to make some moves back to the upside here, then I like this for continuation higher. So that's what we got here. 5 names, maybe one of those fits your trade strategy. Again, do your homework, do your due diligence, make sure that these names fit the characteristics that you like to trade, but some technical setups there that we like. So that's it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching every Wednesday. Trade ideas just like this. We'll be back on Friday for the market recap video. We'll see you then.